The vet froze mid-sentence, his hand trembling against the German shepherd's belly. "Oh my God," he whispered, eyes wide with disbelief. Moments earlier, the dog had been rushed into the clinic, refusing to give birth, despite being in obvious pain. Her heartbeat was erratic, her eyes filled with something deeper than fear, almost like she was protecting a secret. The staff gathered around as the vet ran an ultrasound. The room went silent. This isn't possible," he muttered. Emily, the woman who rescued her, felt her heart stop. "What's wrong with her?" she asked, voice shaking. The vet looked up, pale as a ghost. "She's not just pregnant," he said slowly. "There's something inside her that no one's ever seen before." What he saw inside that dog's belly would leave everyone speechless. Stay till the end, because what happens next will melt your heart. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The storm had rolled in fast that night, painting the sky in shades of gray and thunder. Emily tightened her coat as she hurried down the lonely country road, her flashlight cutting through the sheets of rain. That's when she saw it. A faint trembling shape by the old barn fence. It was a German shepherd, her fur soaked, her body weak, lying on the cold, muddy ground. Emily rushed to her side, heart pounding. The dog's belly was swollen. She was heavily pregnant. But instead of barking or struggling, she only lifted her head slightly, eyes wide and full of fear. "It's okay, girl," Emily whispered, kneeling beside her. "I'm here to help you." The dog let out a low whine, pressing her paw into Emily's hand, a silent plea for trust. Without a second thought, Emily wrapped her in a blanket and carried her to her truck, whispering gentle words the whole way. At the veterinary clinic, the vet confirmed what Emily already knew. The dog was due any hour, but as the night dragged on, something was terribly wrong. Despite every sign of labor, she refused to give birth. She just lay there, breathing hard and staring at the door as if waiting for something unseen. By morning, the clinic was quiet except for the rhythmic hum of machines and the soft whimpering of the German shepherd. Emily had named Grace. She hadn't moved all night. Her breathing was heavy, her eyes fixed on the door like she was guarding something only she could see. Every time the vet approached, she growled, not in anger, but in fear. Emily sat beside her, running her fingers through Grace's wet fur. "You're safe now," she whispered. "No one's going to hurt you." But Grace still wouldn't eat, drink, or even shift her position. The vet, Dr. Harris, frowned as he checked her vitals. "Her temperature is dropping," he said. "She should be delivering by now." He carefully placed his hand on her belly, then froze. Something felt off. Too many movements, too much activity. "I want to run an ultrasound," he said quickly. As the monitor flickered to life, the screen filled with shifting shapes and tiny heartbeats. Dr. Harris leaned closer, adjusting the probe. His expression changed from curiosity to disbelief. "That's impossible," he murmured. Emily's stomach dropped. "What is it? Are the puppies okay?" The vet looked at her, pale. There are too many heartbeats, he said quietly. Far more than I've ever seen before. Grace let out a low, trembling whine, as if she already knew what they were about to discover. The clock ticked past midnight, and tension filled the clinic, like a storm waiting to break. Grace's breathing grew shallow, her body trembling as contractions began. Emily gripped her paw, whispering, "You can do this, girl. I'm right here." The vet, Dr. Harris, prepared his instruments, his eyes darting nervously between the monitor and Grace's belly. Then it happened. Grace let out a cry so deep it sent chills through the room. The first puppy arrived, tiny and slick, letting out a weak but precious squeak. Emily's tears fell instantly. "She did it," she whispered. But Dr. Harris didn't relax. He kept counting the shadows flickering on the screen. Another puppy came, then another and another. The table filled with life, the air alive with tiny whimpers. But it didn't stop. "Oh my God," the vet muttered, his voice shaking. Emily gasped. "How many are there?" He looked at her stunned. "I'm still counting." By the time Grace lay still, surrounded by the sound of soft breathing, there were 16 tiny, perfect puppies, each one alive. Dr. Harris stood frozen, staring at the miracle before him. "I've delivered dogs for 20 years, he whispered, his eyes glistening. "But I've never seen this." She refused to give birth until she felt safe. Emily knelt beside Grace, gently stroking her head. "You weren't scared to deliver," she said softly. "You were waiting for love." The clinic was calm again, filled only with the soft sounds of 16 tiny lives breathing in unison. Grace lay weak but peaceful, her puppies curled against her side like a warm blanket of life. Emily sat nearby, still shaken by the miracle she had just witnessed. Dr. Harris, however, wasn't done asking questions. He ran a few tests, his brow furrowed as he studied the results. When he finally looked up, his expression carried both awe and sorrow. "Her stress levels were off the charts," he said quietly. "Her body was shutting down. She wasn't refusing to give birth out of stubbornness. She was terrified." Emily's voice trembled. "Terrified of what?" The vet sighed. "Grace's body shows signs of overbreeding. She's been forced to have litters before, likely by illegal breeders. Her system nearly gave out. When you rescued her, her body stopped from fear, but your presence made her feel safe again. That's when she finally let go." Emily's eyes filled with tears as she looked down at Grace. The German shepherd lifted her head weakly, restinged it in Emily's lap. For the first time, her eyes weren't filled with fear, but trust. "You're safe now, sweetheart," Emily whispered, gently stroking her head. "And this time no one will ever hurt you again." Over the next few days, news of Grace's incredible story began to spread. Emily shared a short video online, a simple clip of Grace lying peacefully beside her 16 newborn puppies, their tiny paws twitching as they dreamed. Within hours, the video exploded across social media. Millions watched, commented, and cried. She stopped her own labor until she felt safe. Emily wrote in the caption, "All she needed was love." Messages poured in from around the world, offers to adopt, to donate, to help. People called Grace the Miracle Mother. Even local news stations arrived at the clinic, interviewing Emily and Dr. Harris. "I've delivered hundreds of dogs," the vet told one reporter. "But I've never seen anything like this. It's as if she knew she couldn't bring life into a world she didn't trust." Donations flooded in to support Grace's care and the puppy's future. Emily smiled through tears as she watched Grace sleep, surrounded by her litter. "You don't have to fight anymore," she whispered. That night, for the first time in a long time, Grace slept soundly, not as a victim, but as a survivor, a mother who had turned pain into 16 miracles. Months passed and the world hadn't forgotten Grace. Her 16 puppies had grown strong and playful, filling Emily's farmhouse with laughter and chaos. On bright mornings, they tumbled through the yard like rolling clouds of fur, while Grace lay in the sunlight, her eyes calm and proud. The fear that once haunted her was gone, replaced by the quiet dignity of a mother who had finally found peace. Dr. Harris often visited to check on them. Each time he shook his head in disbelief. "I still can't believe she carried them all," he would say, smiling. Emily laughed softly. "She carried more than puppies," she replied. "She carried hope." One by one the puppies found loving homes, families who had followed their story online. Emily kept one, the smallest and gentlest of the litter, who had never left Grace's side. She named him Hope, a symbol of everything Grace had endured. As the sun set one evening, Emily sat on the porch watching Grace and Hope play in the golden light. She whispered to herself, "Sometimes the ones who've been through the darkest pain are the ones who bring the brightest miracles." The camera would fade on that image. A mother, her child, and a world forever changed by compassion, because love, when given freely, can even rewrite destiny.